Oh, sweet Jesus. Hopefully we can actually do something soon as in immediately. Uh, Seems like a similar situation as with the Dragonfall. I think we had pay data. Old City. But no, I don't want to read those now. Fuck them. I want to do something. New messages. Fix new. Oh, oh no, no, no. Pending jobs. Do I need to read the messages? I guess I do. Active jobs. Yeah. From Kindly Chain. On behalf of your friends at the Heo Chamber of Commerce and the Swift Winds Mahjong Parlor, I welcome you to the community of Heo and to our new business venture. I've already lined up 3 jobs for you. The details of each are contained in a separate computer message. Remember to check your messages often, as I will update you with new opportunities as they occur. Okay. From Isabel. Uncle Bob, I've set up your mission computer to automatically collect and collate news reports, information and media that might be of interest to you. Some of the keywords I've got it trolling for are things like Raymond, Duncan, Wall City, etc. I've also patched in a permanent link up to the Hong Kong shard of the Shadowlands BBS. It's a great place to connect with other runners, sell pay data, and get news from the streets, and so on. Don't be shy about taking a look. Bao Jianjian. I have been instructed to inform you of the various suppliers present in okay. Right. Serial killer. I've got a problem, Uncle Bob, and you're going to help me solve it. I do a lot of business with the Wampoans. If you're not familiar with them, I'll forgive you. You are an outsider after all. Wampoans are a tribe of techno-fetishists and deckers who've taken up residence in the Whampoa Garden area of Hong Kong. They make and trade high-tech goods to people from all over the world. A lot of neon passes through their pasty little fingers, and I make a lot of money brokering deals between them and the smugglers here in Haley. I've hit a snag, though. The Whampoan elders, their council of leaders, are being eliminated by a serial killer. They've asked me to dispatch someone to get to the bottom of it and stop the killings, and they're not taking their goods through my turf until I do. So you're going to be my proxy, dear. I don't care how you do it, but I need those murders stopped. The Wampoans have a delegate here in Hawaii by the name of Maximum Law. Speak with him if you wish to know about the Whampoa. He's got a big mouth, but he knows very little of importance. Don't expect much from that half-empty bottle of vinegar. You get your ass down to Whampoa Garden and talk to the elders. Lie, cheat, steal if you have to, so long as they're convinced that there won't be any more murders. I want my cut, and I want it soon. Um, sure. Good. I'll tell the elders you're coming, and they don't like outsiders, and they might shoot at you if I don't warn them that you'll be arriving. As well as like the other 2 jobs. Welcome to the Shadows. I've received a request from an archaeologist named Mr. Drake. He is interested in liberating certain artifacts from beneath the manor house located in Tai Po. I've attached a copy of the video message that he sent me. Hello, Madam Cheng. I've heard that you're a woman who knows how to get things done, especially with regard to things that aren't illegal in the strictest sense. That's exactly the kind of help I'm looking for. Recently, a rich investor by the name of Liu Hua decided to expand his manor house on the outskirts of Taipo. Too much money, not enough space for fancy parties. He hit a snag with local government officials, however. They suspected the land his estate was built on may have pre-modern archaeological artifacts buried beneath it, all of them dating from the Song dynasty. Consequently, I was contracted as an archaeologist to oversee the excavations and ensure everything was properly recorded and catalogued. Sure enough, we were only a few days into the excavation when we discovered a series of tombs lying beneath the site. The scope of the tombs was far beyond anything Liu or I had expected. Several acres of catacombs at least, and untouched relics throughout. What's more, they're certainly older than the Song dynasty. They may even be from the previous cycle of magic. Before I could make my report to the Free Enterprise Zone authorities, however, Liu called in his allies in Tan Tien Incorporated. Liu sold the entire site to Tan Tien, who then leased it back to him. Because Tan Tien is considered to have extraterritoriality in Hong Kong, local authorities were powerless to stop Liu from looting the tombs. He immediately began building a museum, if you can call it that, atop the site. He had the goal to call his museum the Emperor's Tomb. Can you believe that? The odds of there being an actual emperor buried there are basically nil, but he doesn't care, anything to sell a few tickets. Liu has continued his excavations, using Tan Tien contractors to expand the dig. What he didn't know is that I bugged his comlink before he fired me. Based on what I've heard, something strange is going on in the lower levels. Workers have been disappearing, only to be found dead several days later. Whatever is down there is too dangerous to be left in Liu's hands. Liu must have found my dataline tab though. I stopped receiving any information 3 days ago. The last thing I heard him talking about were a pair of ancient texts that workers had discovered. Then he issued an order that further excavation should be halted until he can secure the subterranean areas. I'm betting those texts are the cause of whatever is killing the workers. I have quite a bit of experience with these kind of dangerous excavations, but an operation of this scale is beyond me. I need a team that's tough enough to get in and survive, aren't afraid of making a mess, and who can get out with the books and whatever else they can carry. Beyond the two texts, I'm willing to pay very well for whatever other artifacts your team can liberate. The more valuable, the better. Don't worry, they'll be going to actual museums, not some rich playboy's mansion. I've got a second program in place that'll suppress Lou's security system. The team will have to be careful though. There are only so many alarms I can suppress. Go beyond that number and I'll scrap the mission. I've included a catalog of likely items to help the team appraise the more valuable ones. They don't need to be subtle. In fact, I prefer they make it look like a common robbery. Tell them to smash and grab what they can. Let me know when you find a suitable group of Shadowrun. Robbery. Okay, let's just go with the job we have. The dig site seems to be something that we need to try to do stealthily. So either we learn to hack properly at that point or we're screwed. Tell me about Whampoa. We're pretty much the best, yo. What do you want to know? Tell me about your tribe. You really are new to Kong, aren't you? We're the Neo Matrix Collective. We run the Hong Kong Data Haven and the Kong Shadow Nets. We are the Kong Shadow Nets. Outside the corporate nets is the rest of the Kong, and in those shadows you will find threads of golden light, like a vast spider web that carry information. Those golden threads and the web is one power. Flo gives a curt, viral nod. My buddy Red Storm broke that. Pretty wicked, huh? Anyway, we're bleeding edge on the path to the singularity. We're doing things no one else is doing anywhere. It's maybe Denver or Tokyo. Our homeland is the Matrix, and we're building a society of truth and expertise and information. Seem very outspoken, less modest than many Hong Kongers. Is that a tribal feat? I'm more outspoken, yo. I don't need the meat space rituals. Modesty is inefficient. He shrugs dismissively. Is that a one-point thing? For those of us who are more styled, maybe? We're post-cultural. Flo sweeps his hand around, gesturing at the surroundings. Hardly see any of this meat space. Our meat space headquarters is a big 20th century ship that's totally awesome. Whatever, it's just meat space. Ampua is a bleeding edge on the path to becoming the singularity, and in the singularity there's gonna be nothing but straight up truth. Paul punches his fist down at the ground, striking a majestic pose like a Tridio barbarian. Ooh, the truth. Okay. I understand someone is killing your elders. His face goes grim. A red light blinks in the VR goggles. The lens whirls quietly, focusing in on you. He grinds his teeth audibly, radiating nervousness and intensity. Yeah, shit's crazy. Full on medieval. I can't talk about it. It's tribal matter, controlled information, right? We're gonna solve it. That's all outsiders need to know. Yeah, actually I've been contracted to help the elders stop the murders. Wow, really? We're pulling in outsiders. He shakes his head in disbelief. Well, I should have seen that coming. What the hell are you doing here? Go to the garden and help stop that shit. Then come back and tell me what's going on. Everybody's guessing. The elders are being quiet and the rumor hub is going crazy. Outsiders don't understand us. Maybe you can, if you're really smart. We're in a whole different world than most people. Like, I'm seeing 3 streaming videos and live network stats in my goggles right now. Time's wasting, Uncle Bob. Um, Guess this is our go-to place whenever we need to go somewhere. Additional runners available. Your fixer has access to a small network of mercenaries in the Kowloon area. These runners appear below your core team on the runner selection screen and can be hired on a mission-to-mission basis. To complete missions, both your team members and the available mercenaries will periodically gain access to new equipment and abilities. Any new items, spells, weapons, and weapon abilities that a runner gains will automatically be available for use next time you take them, but they cost money. Yeah, I don't want to spend money. I have only 500. We can take the 14. I'm not sure if this is a good choice, but we probably need a decker of some sort. Outsider. Whampoa Garden, a carnival of chrome and neon, rife with every manner of technology and artifice one can imagine. The entire area has the feel of a night market. Save the chips are sold in lieu of steamed buns, and when vendors hawk the latest drones rather than folk art. Something stalks these streets, hiding just out of sight. It stalks the Wampon elders, the leaders of the band of tech-savvy squatters that have claimed this neighborhood as their own. The streets smell of ozone and fear, and those Wampons you pass in the MTR station have a haunted, furtive look in their eye. While the killer has struck only at the elders thus far, it may only be a matter of time before ordinary residents are menaced as well. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Let's go. The streets of Whampoa Garden are slick with rain, glittering under the neon glow of myriad signs and holographic displays. The sky reflects the same glow, then in the wide apartment blocks with sickly orange of sodium streetlights. The smell of grilling meat mingles with other rarer scents, ozone, engine oil, and high-tech fabrication facilities. Despite the hour, there are plenty of people out and about. You can hear the calls of street vendors and touts, urging people into their stores. Isabel wrinkles her nose, scowling darkly. She wraps her arms tightly around her chest, staring off into the distance. Is there a word for feeling nostalgic for a place you can't wait to leave again? I don't miss this place, but I miss the feeling I had when I lived here. So date, maybe? Isabel shakes her head. No, that's not it. It's close, but... She lets the sentence trail off into nothingness, clamping her mouth shut for a moment. She sighs heavily. This place seemed like a heaven after the walled city. Like the whole world had unfurled in front of me, and anywhere I turned there was a promise of a good life. Turned out this place was just as crappy as everywhere else. Everyone was still in it for themselves. Cobbett claps a hand on Isabel's shoulder, who flinches and pulls away. That's a great life lesson, is. I'm serious. At the end of the day, life's a raw deal. You got yourself and a handful of friends. That's it. Nothing else. Duncan casts a sidelong glance at Isabel and Cobbett, shaking his head. You've got some strange ideas about life. Sure, life's a meat grinder, but come on, there's gotta be more to life than just surviving. Does there? What makes you the authority on that? Isabel waves a dismissive hand. I'm done talking about this anyway. He turns toward you and points down the street to your left. We're looking for the Whampoan elders. We're gonna be in the Whampoa itself. That's the big ship down the street. I've seen pictures. It looks like a yacht. That's the one. Kind of hard to miss. It's been a fixture since late last century. These days it's just a squat. Shops are family affairs, not corporate ones. Is there anything I should know about the Wampoans? They're all tech heads, tinkerers, and self-taught scientists. Despite the fact that there's no formal education system, everyone here is pretty smart. They apprentice kids to skilled workers so they can learn a trade. Elder Geo taught me decking, and I left after she got brain fried trying to crack a Mitsuhama network. Elder Ip taught me to shoot. He should still be here. Come on, let's go and see what they have to say for themselves. Hmm, how much karma do I have in things? That's not a lot. People are talking about the events here. Elder Ng. This orc woman is festooned with small circuits, tiny treat screens and speakers. Treat screens display snippets of treat broadcasts from every corner of the world. Tiny speakers play counterpoint with a susurrus of voices speaking Speretial, Punjabi, Kazakh and other languages. Her expression is haggard and she fidgets with her fingers as you approach. Welcome, welcome to Wabpoa, my friend. I'm Elder Ng, and these are Elders Tang and Ip. Ng gestures to the elf and human, who each incline their heads respectfully. Thank you so much for answering our request for help. We had nowhere else to turn. It's the least I could do. Under Tang's skin, glowing tattoos wreathe and change shape. Tigers become cranes and move on to dragons. We are under threat. One by one, we elders are being hunted by some monster. As you may have noticed, when you arrived, there's been another killing just tonight. Ip crosses his solid chrome arms. Holographic readouts dance constantly over their surface, displaying diagnostic information about their state. Operating temperature, server pressure, and a variety of other minutiae. He looks past you towards Isabel. The prodigal daughter returned once more. I didn't expect to see you back aboard the Wampoa in my lifetime, Isabel. When you disappeared, Elder Yetunde was very put out. I'm glad you're still alive. When you chose to walk your own path, I was disappointed, but I still understood why you had to leave. It pauses, tasting the air as he chooses his next words with care. I hope my lessons have helped you prosper. Didn't expect to come back either. Work takes you places, though. Isabel shrugs. A moment later, she places a hand on her pistol, eyes strained on Ip's shoes. I don't cart this around for fun, Ip. The lessons kept me alive. Isabel blinks several times, then looks up at Ng, her expression clouded. Where is Yetunde anyway? I expected her to be here. Ng shakes her head sadly. He reaches out a hand toward Isabel, who shirks away from it. She's dead. And so are Gan and Nakamura. And Tong was killed just tonight. So much blood. You have to stop this from continuing. Isabel's expression remains impassive, but her knuckles grow wide as her hand balls up into fists. That's what we're here for. We'll stop the killings. Thank you, Isabel. Ng lifts a hand, wiping away tears from her eyes. What can you tell me about the murders? They started 2 weeks ago. First to go was Gan. We found him in his apartment, eviscerated. Ng swallows, grimacing at the painful memory. He'd been torn apart. His head had been ripped completely off and most of his skin flayed away. There was so much blood it took us a week to clean out his apartment. Tang nods, turning his palm over his forehead. The rest have been the same, always at night, always dismembered. Each scene is like a nightmare. Every time nobody has seen anything. He's like a ghost. What happened with Tan? Same thing that happened to the rest of the victims, eviscerated and dismemberment. We sent a guard to keep people out of his shop, but he'll let you in. When did he die? Sometime near early tonight. He'd locked up his shop, but stopped by to ask him about some skill chips he had. The door was unlocked and inside... Ink lifts her hands helplessly. She opens her mouth, but no words come out. Seeing Ink's inability to continue, Ip takes over. Inside looked like a bad horror scene, just like all the other murders. It had to have happened after sundown, because I saw his shop was open when I was on my way to get some noodles for dinner. Why didn't you call the police? The Hong Kong police force isn't welcome here. They've tried to force us out several times before or come hunting for someone to pin a crime on. We do a lot of favors for local gangs and triads, handle their matrix security, fix up their gear, and make sure they have access to Hong Kong Shadowlands hub. We're too valuable a resource for them to lose, so they protected us from the HKPF, and everyone else decides we're an easy target. They handle our physical security, and we make sure to send the message via the Matrix. Last time the HKPF made trouble, we started airing the assistant chief's dirty laundry over the thread. They got the picture and backed off. Hey, have you made any new enemies lately? Not that I can think of. We keep to ourselves. We buy and sell technology. We're not mercenaries or criminals. We're merchants and dickers. And even if someone was cheated in a deal, this kind of response is unthinkable. Whatever did this, it wasn't human. The violence and savagery, it's a monster, whatever it is. Plenty of meta-humans are monsters too. Just because it's horrible doesn't mean it's supernatural. So what do the elders do? Isabel snorts derisively. They make the rules and kick people out who don't obey them. They're a bunch of petty tyrants, that's what. You're being unfair, Isabel. Our laws are for the good of the community. We keep the Whampoa and its residents safe. We review trade agreements with outsiders to see if they're good for the community. We provide a guiding vision, like a town council. Gonna respect that. I'm glad you understand. This community is fragile, and the authorities bear us a lot of ill will. A single misstep could spell our end. I am an invoker of sprites. I commune with the spirits of machines, ask them for blessings and pass those blessings on to the people here. I heal the sick and ensure that feng shui of our habitats is as good as it can be, given our confines. She's a shaman, that's all. She's just got some kooky spin on it. Claims her totem is some kind of all-encompassing machine god that lives in circuitry. Isabel pats her deck, looking at Newt. Ancient gods and ancestors are one thing. My deck? It's mine. I build it. The only spirit it got in it are the ESPs I loaded up with. And gives Isabel a look of deep sadness. Just because you cannot see or touch a thing does not mean that it does not exist. Just because you do not believe in it does not mean it does not protect you from afar. I can't touch programs either, but at least I can prove they have an effect on the physical world. Your superstitions are just that. Bullshit. Isabel glances at you, jerking a thumb toward Tan. This guy treats drones like they're living things. Is that right? Tang extends his arms, palms up, as he watches. The tattoos therein shift into a complex mathematical formula. I'm the first and glorious servo. I study patterns, repair machinery, and teach others how to attune themselves to the wonders of automation. The blessed auto-fab in my shop and purview, where we make the drones we use and sell. As Elder Ip. As for me, I serve as the resplendent voltage spike. Ip smiles crookedly. That means I shoot people who try to screw with us. It's a fancy title for head of security. It might be wise to ask the residents of Whampoa Garden if they've seen or heard anything. After you've gone to Tong's sensory carnival, they may have seen or heard things we have not. Doesn't look like there's anything interesting here anymore. Okay. A murder investigation. Wouldn't be a role-playing game without it, I guess. Porter Lamb, at your service. The elders told me that you'd be coming. They tell you about what happened to Tong. Just the basics. Well, nothing basic about this. I've seen people shot, stabbed, and beaten to death. Hell, I've even seen a corpse that was so dry and desiccated I could have sworn a vampire got to it. None of that got anything on this. Brace yourself and go on in. Excellent. Tong's Sensory Carnival looks like a scene out of a B-grade slasher sim. The cloying scent of incense hangs thick and pungent in the air, emanating from the small shrine in the corner of the shop. Unfortunately, it does nothing to cover up the reek of death and clotted blood. Despite the ragged remnants of Elder Tong littering the floor, the rest of the shop appears to be in good order, at least at first glance. Nothing is broken, tipped over, or otherwise ransacked. As you are about to step further into the room, you glance at the ceiling and the walls. The blood from Tong's body isn't just confined to where his remains lie. Drying blood is spread about the walls and ceiling as well, like he exploded from the inside. But clearly he's been cut to pieces. Tong's body is a ruined mess. The destroyed ruin of his face is barely recognizable, and what is left on his body would best be described as savage. All of his limbs have been torn off, and a pile of flayed skin lies next to the remnants of the Wampon Elder. Wampon's clothing has all but been reduced to rags and tissue by cuts and tears, apparently sustained during the flaying. At this point, the only thing holding what's left of his body in a semblance of human form is the hair-thin fiber optics of his cyberware. Cuphead puts a hand over her mouth, speaking in an uncharacteristically serious tone. Sweet heaven, Uncle Bob. I haven't seen anything like this since Auntie Wong tried to slash some cretsticks in a devil's rat's nest. Takes a lot to turn my stomach, but we sure have a winner today. This is seriously messed up. I'll second that. This isn't a murder, this is more like, I don't know, a feeding frenzy. If it weren't for the skin, I'd say Tong stepped on a goddamn mine or something. Use astral perception to sense the weapon. Taking a deep breath, you follow your senses to expand into astral space. Colors of the room bleed away, replacing with the vibrant lights and emotions of the spirit world. Surprisingly, no emotions of fear or anger pervade the room. The abiding emotion the room is steeped in is one of perfunctory satisfaction, as if someone had accomplished an important task. It would seem likely that Tong was surprised. If he was not, it would be certain that he would feel lingering fear within the room. Oh, really? Puppet takes a moment to center herself and stares off into space. Shortly thereafter, she shakes her head and looks back to you. That's strange. You're right though, he definitely didn't see it coming. Someone trustworthy, maybe. The walls are covered in splattered and smeared blood, most of which has hardened into a crusty, congealed paste. Thick tracks of it run laterally. It looks like the blood has been deliberately smeared. Hey, Uncle Bob, I don't know a whole lot about science and all that. I know that what blood looks like when it hits the wall. This isn't natural. Somebody deliberately smeared blood all over these walls. See how it looks like it's got paint trails? That's because somebody used Tong's parts like a brush. So they painted his walls with blood. Why? Do I look like a psychologist to you? Maybe because they're a freak. Maybe they're one of those sick serial killers that sees their murders as art. I got no clue. All I know is that what a normal blood looks like on a wall, and this ain't it. Never saw the killer coming, and seems like the crime scene has been needlessly smeared. Some people have a bad grasp of art. I knew this guy in Guangdong who used to make music out of stray radio static and panic button calls, called it crisis wave. It was awful. Tom's bathroom is immaculate and the drains are tiny. Whatever killed him didn't exist here. Tom's desk drawers are open and the safe that's built into one side has been opened. There's no sign of tampering and the green light next to the word unlock is blinking. Whoever opened the safe did it with a key fob. Inside are several blank gridstick, but no sign of any money on them. Looks like someone looted his stash. A guy like this wouldn't keep only empty gridstick in his safe. This is Yamaha 95000V SimSynth, device for mixing and mastering SimSense chips. Several drive bays are empty and all of the chip jacks are empty. The screen is flashing a repeated error message. Warning: requested files cannot be found. Please return drives to bay and try again. Okay. Isabel rattles out some commands on the Simpsons keyboard, stepping away after a few seconds with a look of satisfaction on her face. There, I put the drive warning on suspend. It's in diagnostic mode only, though. Maybe we'll learn something, maybe not. Memory okay, drive error, assist bus okay. Beginning core dump, please wait. Isabel studies the screen in detail as letters and numbers scroll by. Looks like Tong was cooking some BTLs here. He's hacked the P controller output cutoffs. The delta levels on sim chips are usually about 4 to 5, 6.5 for cal HOTS. His delta peaks are pushing 12. That's brain-burning territory, Uncle Bob. And all the drives and chips those BTLs were stored on are missing. I never liked Tong, but it wasn't because he was a bad guy. I just didn't like any of the elders. But if he was cooking chips at Delta 12, maybe he burned somebody he shouldn't have. Maybe they've licked their lid and came after him, or a relative did. Isabel gives you a serious look, tipping her head at the scent. The metahuman brain can't handle this kind of output. It'll shut down after a few of these. Well, we have some clues to go after. We talk to people. Zippy. This orc is busily snacking on a steamed bun. As you approach, he wipes off one of his hands and sticks it out toward you. Hey stranger, nice to see you. Zippy Toe Tack at your service. Are you liking Whampoa Garden? Uncle Bob, nice to meet you, Zippy. Nice to meet you too. Listen, I know it's a little forward for me to just say hello and whatnot, but I'm interested in giving you a hand if I can. Zippy gestures expansively at the squalid neon-lit street of Whampoa Garden. This is my home, at least for the time being, and I'd like to stop these killings. We've never met before this, but I know exactly who you are. You're my replacement. Elders had me autopsy what was left of Elder Gan and Elder Nakamura after they got ripped apart. I didn't want to dig any deeper. So since I don't know you and I can smell a Shadowrunner a mile away, you got to be the outsider they asked to stop the killings, right? CB tilts his head back, obviously pleased at his amateur deduction. Very astute, that is right. See, I have good eyes. A lot of good eyes, actually. If you're in the market for replacements. Only slightly used, and they only come from certified donors, I swear. Hearty belly laugh erupts from the orc, and he slaps one of his thighs in elation. Man, I'd kill myself. Yeah, pretty funny. You're a comedian. Who would joke like that? Are you kidding me? I'm one of the only trained surgeons around here. I keep the other Wampoans healthy. At a practice down the road. Fine Chin's a pretty good cyber dog, but he's basically an implant specialist and that's it. How did he end up here? I did my residency back in the UCAS. Could have become a real MD too, if things hadn't gone south for unrelated reasons. Tippy opens his coat, revealing a cyber deck. He pats it proudly. I also deck a little, but I'm better at slicing skin than I see. One poor garden seemed a good fit for me. I must have a lot of customers. That's the cheap truth. I have to charge to cover my costs and eat, but it's damn near free service. There's always a waiting list, but it's good, honest work. I like helping my neighbors and the community. We all look out for each other, and somebody messes with one of us, they mess with all of us. That kind of community is rare as gold these days. How many places have an ethos like us? Not the damn corpse, that's for sure. I've lived a lot of places, done my fair share of shadow running, but this place is special. It's been a long time since I really felt like anywhere was a real home. The bee looks off past you toward the Wampoa Garden streets. His expression grows wistful, like he's remembering something from a long ago. I'm sure I'll move again, but not for a while. I'm not done with this city or these people. Is it fairly peaceful around here? For the most part, other than these killings, we don't have much by way of problems. We do information security for the Triads, and that makes us fairly impervious to anyone who wants to start trouble. Anyone starts something, we hit them in the Matrix while our Triad friends hit them in the meat space. Some small-time gangs have tried pushing in here before, but they backed off when they figured out they weren't just picking a fight with the Tang and his guys, but with both the Red Dragon and Yellow Lotus. They got the message real quick, what was left of them anyway. Uh, Tell me about the Elders. Zippy laughs, shrugging. Well, they're an eclectic bunch, that's for sure. Where to start? Ning's the spiritual leader here. She's the voice of the Vampoans, I guess. A lot of her close friends are really more of followers, since she's something of a priest for the machine spirits. Maybe it's a cultural thing for people who grew up here, but it's never called to me. Still, she makes a damn fine pot of tea. Keeps the muscle and has an encyclopedic knowledge of cyber and Bioware. Definitely a good guy to have watching your back. Not too friendly, but you know how it is. You get a lot of cyber, people start wondering if you'll tear their arms off. He makes a chopping gesture with one hand. He's got moves straight out of Blood Carnival 3, The Reckoning. Terrible movie, but great fight choreography. And ooh, huh. I don't know much about him, but I think he's got some kind of fetish for automation. Heard him cooing over some triads of automated delivery drones in a warehouse once. He worked with drones at a shop called the Blessed Autopath. He was raving about the efficiency of the movement pattern or something. You already know about Tong, Ransim's, BTL's, skill chips. Yan used to be a city planner before he had a nervous breakdown and got involved in statistical analysis. CP pauses to collect his thoughts. Nakamura came from Fukuoka and was interested in entertainment, trade mostly, spent a lot of time analyzing subliminals in ads. Then there was Magpie. She was the cheap taker, hot as hell against IC and built her own hardware. Salty old woman though. Never met anyone who was quite as shrill or nasty when she was mad. She was mad most of the time. Wait, nobody mentioned Magpie to me. When did she die? She didn't. Maybe a month ago she just up and disappeared. Went to her shop one day and she just wasn't open. Nobody's seen her since. And about pain in the ass too. She owed me some new analyze software she'd picked up. I've never heard of Magpie either. She must be one of the newer Wampons. If she was the Dicker, she would have replaced Elder Gale. No surprise there, Gale was older than Quinn Shivangdil's Terracotta Warriors. When I was learning decking from him, he could barely get out of bed. Still fast as hell in the Matrix though. So how can you be new and an elder? Sybil rolls her eyes. It's a stupid name. It doesn't actually have much to do with time spent in the community. That has something to do with it, sure, but it's mostly about how skilled you are, how good your connections are, and how much you can help everyone else. Should have called them expert or something. Bingo, that's exactly it. She was only here for about 3 years, but she knew a lot of people all over the Matrix, in Shanghai, in Beijing, all kinds of places. That plus her skill meant she was a shoo-in when Gale died. Why would she disappear? No idea. One day she was there, next, poof. At first I thought she was just on vacation, since she had mentioned wanting to see the Kingdom of Hawaii someday, but it didn't feel right. She would have at least told me she was leaving. It seems highly suspicious to me. Nobody else seemed to care what happened to her, probably because she pissed them all off so bad. Is there any place you think I should start looking? You might want to check out her shop. It's all locked up, but the other elders have a spare key. Getting her to look around, even though Magpie was always butting heads with the other elders. They couldn't have any reason not to let her in. What did they argue about? Magpie and the others never saw eye to eye. She was contrary for the sake of it. Most of the rest had a grand vision for what they wanted this neighborhood to become. Magpie just wanted to dig. She was only an elder because they needed someone with her matrix chops. The last big argument was between her, Inji, Ip, and Nakamura. It was over something relatively trivial. I think Nakamura wanted to expand the pirate tribe business into the Matrix, and she just absolutely refused. Why? She said something about not using up valuable bandwidth for trivial entertainment bullshit. Anyway, it went from there into this rant about how she wasn't going to let Tang expand his drone business any further because it would get too much megacorp attention. They accused her of blocking them just because she could, which is probably true. Lots of screaming. What do you mean block them? Everybody needs her matrix skills for their business to run properly. There are other deckers, say, or Mo Genevi, but she had the infrastructure. If their project didn't interest her, she wouldn't even give them the time of day. She's a real hardhead about having her time wasted. She figures if she's not interested in something, it has no value objectively. Kind of a major blind spot, if you ask me. Could you let me into her shop? No can do. Not because I don't want to, but because I just don't have the key. We have to get it from Ip. He's taken over all of the major infrastructure maintenance since Magpie disappeared. He's not as good at it as she is, or as I am, but they're not gonna let anyone who isn't an elder take care of that kind of critical stuff. Hmm. Your thoughts on the murders? There's a sharp intake of breath as Shippy shakes his head. Pretty gruesome business. Gan died from a broken neck. Looked like someone had wrenched it around, and his arms and legs were cut off. Some skin flayed away too. Nakamura had his throat ripped out by someone with pretty sharp teeth. At first I thought it was a devil rat, but the teeth marks were all from something with a humanoid jaw. I didn't look at the Eton there. From what I saw at a distance, it was the same story. Didn't see much point since I'd seen it twice already. As for Tong, from what Porter told me, it was Gan and Nakamura all over again. Take a look at him. Yeah, it's the same as you described for the others. Zippy shakes his head sadly. Damn, I like Tong. BTL business is unsavory, but the man had to eat. And his regular sims were great. Generally all around nice guy, friendly with everyone, never had anyone mad at him. There ain't no justice, let me tell you. Guess we're gonna visit Magpie's shop then. Um, what did you tell me about Elder Magpie disappearing? Why would we have? Her departure from the Vampirans isn't related to your investigation. It happened before the killings began. I'm certain she's just off skulking somewhere. I doubt she'll come waltzing back next month, all full of attitude that life dared to go on without asking her permission. If she does, we'll welcome her back despite our problems with her behavior. Her skills make her extremely valuable. I've taken over maintenance of our major infrastructure in her absence, but I'm nowhere near her level. Best I can do is ensure nothing breaks down until she returns. I'd like to take a look around her shop. Do you have a key? Yes, but there's a lot of sensitive equipment in there, including our community servers. We don't let anyone who's not one of the 1 point elders in there. Why would you need to look around? Listen, you wanted me to find a killer. If I'm going to do that, I have to explore every possibility. Very well. Take the key and look around. Just don't break anything or shut the servers off. We can talk to more people here. I think we want to go to take a look at the checkpoint. Anything else? More people to talk to. More people to talk to. I wonder are all missions like this? Display case. This bin is full of assorted chips, peripheral, per, peripherals, peripherals, and add-on modules for cyberdecks. They don't seem to be arranged in any coherent fashion and are spread across the felt surface. Search. You shift through the display case, searching for anything that might prove interesting. Isabel peers past you into the bin as you search. That's interesting. There's a lot of storage memory, I/O handlers, and active memory in this bin. I'm not seeing any MPCP hardware, response increase chips, or anything related to the hot shit decking Magpie was supposed to be into. In fact, you couldn't even build a full deck with this. Without the MPCP, it'd just be a glorified comlink. What do you think it means? Well, if I had a guess, I'd say somebody's cleaned her out. MPCP, response increase, biofeedback filters and all that. They're easy to move, expensive, and highly illegal. All of the rest of this crap is good, but it's nothing you couldn't pick up at any electronic shop. You'd have to know what you're looking for though. Only a good decker would know what they're seeing. Magpie have taken them with her. Isabel gestures toward one of the other displays. A pair of small cyber decks sits inside the locked case. I guess so, but if she did that, why would she leave the completed cyber decks? No, I think this was a theft. The front of the server's case hangs open, the inner machinery quiet and without power. The clipboard is stuck to the side by a piece of duct tape, its papers filled with long list of programs and their prices. A quick glance over the program sheet reveals names like Bugs, and Black Hammer. Undoubtedly this was Magpie's attack program storage machine. Somebody's removed the drives, and it sure wasn't Magpie. Here, look. Isabel gestures to the inners of the open server. Near the back, a solitary red light blinks. The main drives were disconnected properly, but it looks like she modded the server to have a backup drive with its own battery-based power supply. If it was Magpie, she'd have taken that too. Crap, this is Fuji XP1000. It looks like the battery power ran out a while ago. XP1000s are constant write drives. They're dirt cheap and have a ton of capacity, but if they run out of power, they lose their data. We're not going to be able to get anything off the drive. Bathroom. You search Magpie's bathroom. There's not much in here. Toothbrush, toilet paper, some hairpins, and a collection of cheap makeup. Combination bath shower unit, however, has minor flakes of dry, reddish substance near the drain. Blood. Dried blood. Prying open the drain cover, it looks like quite a bit of it was shed. Shit, maybe Magpie didn't take a trip after all. With that amount of blood, I'm guessing someone killed her quietly and then drained her body in the bath. It'd make it cleaner to relocate. Doesn't seem to match the killer's other scenes, though. I'm thinking there's a lot more going on with these murders than we were initially told. First, they don't even mention Magpie to us, and now it looks like she's been killed. Something's not right here, Uncle Bob. Let's not mention this to the elders. If they're hiding anything, they may start cleaning up their tracks better. Magpie's desk is kind of messy. Most people only associate it with rat's nest, hoarders, and deckers. The surface of the desk is littered with cigarette butts, half-finished cans of soy calf, and scraps of electronics. A towering pile of empty instant noodle bowls sits next to it. Their sides are blazoned with Honest Wang's instant old-time Lamian. and depict a line of top hat-wearing caterpillars dancing with canes. Hey, awesome! I didn't think anybody but me liked Honest Wang's noodles. Flavor like you've never tasted in a package of instant noodles, I promise. Cupid taps the side of one container. See? This one's cheese curry broccoli. I don't know why it never caught on, honestly. Yeah. Duncan shoots you a sidelong glance, mumbling subtle bulk. Gee, who'd ever pass up the delicious taste of cheese, curry, and freeze-dried vegetables? Cupid seems oblivious to Duncan's sarcasm. I know, right? People out there have no idea what kind of culinary delights they're missing. Okay, you gingerly root around in the desk, doing your best to avoid the more disgusting piles and spills. It isn't easy. Desk drawers are stuffed to overflow with receipts, cigarette packs, optical chips, and cables. Most of the contents is boring, useless, and disgusting. While searching one of the bottom drawers, however, a low-quality tin lockbox catches your eye. Someone has pried the latch off, leaving a ragged hole where the lock should be. The interior of the box has several sleeves for storing keycards, all of which are empty. A small note is taped to the interior of the box. Spare stockroom keys. The door is in the rear of Mrs. Yang's restaurant. Do not lose these. Use only if I'm not available to open the stockroom. Stockroom, huh? So who broke the lockbox to get the keys out? Probably whoever cleaned out Magpie's equipment. I'm thinking you're right. Whoever tore the latch off the box was in a hurry. Any of the elders could have cracked the mag lock without much trouble, and most regular Wampoans could too. He seems like somebody who was tossing the place and wanted to get in and out as fast as possible. If someone was after Magpie's gear, her stockroom would be a gold mine. Find a key to the stockroom. You wouldn't happen to know anything about this? I guess we'll have to... we can't really trust anyone. At the same time, we probably do have to talk to some people. Try to rely on them a little bit. What can you tell me about Elder Magpie? One Poland snort, shrugging his shoulders. That she was a bitch. That I've never met anyone as deliberately contrary as her. There's not much to say. Nobody wanted to hang out with Magpie. Even though she was the newest elder, she acted high and mighty around everyone. She'd block deals and argue against Nakamura and Nug just because she could. Why? It was just her nature. She loved fights and gossip. Any chance to cut somebody else down, she'd take it. I guess I always figured she had some deep-seated insecurities and covered it up by attacking other people. Okay, it looks like somebody went through Tong's things. Has anyone else been inside? Not since I've been here, but before it found him. Could have been anyone really. He had a key to his place, but the lock's total crap. Anybody half decent at cracking mag locks could have gotten inside. What's missing? PTLs, hard drives, grid sticks. Sounds like the killer looted this place to me. All this talk of monsters, yeah, sure. There are scary things that go bump in the night, but most of the scary bumps I hear are from handguns and gangers. So Porter, what do you do around here? It's cat's all category, I guess. I work for Elder IP, Elder IP. It's a bit like being a deputy. I make sure people don't break the rules, protect people who need protecting. Mostly I just do whatever IP asks me to. It's a pretty quiet job most days. Today's not one of those days. I also handle a lot of maintenance. I don't actually do the repairs, but I've got most of the keys. It makes it easy to ensure only authorized people get into sensitive places. Electricity goes down, I let in the electrician who fixes the wiring. Bullets clock, let in the drone guy who opens it back up. I noticed quite a lot of people around here. And the storage room was near some kind of a restaurant. Actually I'll cut things here. Looks like we have to talk to a lot of people, and who knows? Who knows what we'll have to do to actually solve this case, so... I have to say I was hoping for something a little bit more action-packed. We'll see. But I think so far this game I think that opening was fairly decent. It's got things going. But after that, probably, what, 4 to 6 hours of just going through dialogue. It's not that good of a dialogue, and not that many interesting options. It's not like it's a road with many branches you can take. It's just a lot of options to go through. So I don't feel it's a good start to the game. It's like someone needs to edit this shit down. I'm reminded of a work that a course, a work for a course, and it was something like 10 pages, and you can make your own subject. You do well, it's beside the point, but there were people there who returned like 40 plus page work because they were excited about their own chosen subjects, and naturally, yeah, you got an exciting subject. You want everyone to fully understand how awesome it is, have every bit of detail in there, but it's like it's an automatic failure on the course. Naturally, because they don't, because the professors aren't dicks, they give you a chance to edit it down to that required 10 pages. But it's the someone needed to do that here. Just yeah, you've written all that wonderful stuff here, but you need to cut that shit down to something that person who probably isn't as super invested in that what you're writing as you are doesn't have to go through pages and pages of things that could have probably been cut down to a few paragraphs and then move on. I do hope the game picks up. I really do, because if it keeps going like this, this isn't terrible. This is definitely an improvement on the first few hours, but I really hope a little bit. It doesn't necessarily have to be shooty action, but to the pace is very slow. To get anything done, just it seems like the game is drags on a little bit too much at the moment, and I really hope it picks up.